The alien fleet approached Earth with confidence. It was a moment they had anticipated for years, studying the primitive human species and their limited technology, noting their reliance on fossil fuels, their fascination with digital devices, and their lack of any form of interstellar travel. To them, humanity was nothing more than an experiment, an interesting but inferior civilization, ripe for conquest. As their massive ships, cloaked in darkness, neared Earth's atmosphere, the alien commanders watched intently, eagerly awaiting the moment they could claim victory over what they believed would be a simple conquest. On board one of the lead alien ships, a commander named Carrack observed the human landscape below. The cities glittered with lights, stretching across continents like vast networks of stars. The humans, oblivious to the incoming threat, continued their daily routines, unaware of the fleet hovering above. Carrack smirked, a smug satisfaction filling him as he watched the humans go about their lives. Soon, they would be forced to kneel before their new masters. The orders had been given to initiate capture protocols and secure a selection of humans for further study. Within moments, beams of light cascaded down from the ships, silently capturing clusters of humans from various locations. Those selected were quickly transported to the alien ship, dazed and bewildered by the sudden and surreal experience. The aliens efficiently divided their captives based on apparent skill sets, choosing individuals they thought might be useful: scientists, engineers, and seemingly ordinary civilians whom they believed could provide insights into human psychology. The captives, though shaken, observed everything around them with wide eyes, silently taking note of their surroundings. The human prisoners were ushered into cells, each surrounded by transparent barriers that hummed with an otherworldly energy. The aliens, overconfident in their technology, assumed the humans would be too stunned or frightened to pose any real threat. The guards stationed outside each cell wore identical expressions of cold indifference, convinced that these captives were nothing more than helpless creatures who posed no challenge to them. Carrack looked over the prisoners with a sense of accomplishment. To him, this was merely the beginning of their conquest, a trivial task that would soon bring glory to their fleet. But the aliens had overlooked one crucial detail. Humanity was far from defenseless. Earth had been preparing for potential extraterrestrial threats for years, developing covert operatives and specialized defense teams trained specifically for scenarios like this. This wasn't public knowledge, as Earth's governments had kept these defense initiatives classified, only activating them in case of an unavoidable extraterrestrial threat. And now, that threat had arrived. Unbeknownst to the aliens, one of the prisoners was no ordinary civilian. Agent Reyes, a highly trained member of Earth's Special Force, had purposely positioned himself among the captives. Reyes was part of an elite group trained in extraterrestrial warfare, equipped with knowledge and tactics far beyond what the aliens anticipated. As he sat in his cell, he remained calm, mentally noting the layout of the alien ship, observing the technology used in their cells, and devising a plan to contact his team. Within minutes of his capture, Reyes activated a tiny device hidden in his boot. It was a communications chip that emitted a barely detectable frequency, allowing him to connect with his team back on Earth. His team had been on high alert since the alien fleet's arrival, monitoring the situation from a hidden base and preparing for the possibility that some of their own would be taken. Reyes's calm, strategic mind quickly conveyed his findings: the ship's structure, the alien weaponry, and potential vulnerabilities in their systems. Back at the base, Reyes's team leader, Commander Hale, reviewed the data and began formulating a response. The Special Force team was comprised of experts from various fields, each handpicked for their skills in alien tech analysis, combat, and infiltration. Hale knew that to take down the alien ship from within, they would need more than just brute force. They would need precision, strategy, and a way to exploit the aliens' overconfidence. Within hours, the Special Force team activated a covert operation to infiltrate the alien ship. Equipped with advanced stealth suits that could cloak them from most forms of detection, the team made their way to the alien vessel under the cover of darkness. They used silent propulsion systems to navigate through the ship's layers, slipping past alien guards and entering the ship undetected. Reyes, aware of their arrival, maintained a stoic presence in his cell, waiting for the right moment to act. The aliens, completely unaware of the infiltration, continued their preparations, satisfied with the ease of their mission so far. Carrick, oblivious to the human strategic capabilities, reviewed data on his captives, assigning each of them a role that would benefit the aliens' study of Earth. He believed that soon, the humans would provide valuable information that could help the aliens control the planet's resources, infrastructure, and population. Meanwhile, the Special Force team, moving in synchrony, had begun sabotaging the ship's systems, carefully and quietly. One of the operatives, an engineer named Chin, had located the ship's power grid and initiated subtle disruptions. Power fluctuations began to occur in sections of the ship, dimming lights and causing slight tremors. To the aliens, these were minor issues, easily dismissed as technical glitches. They had no reason to suspect that humans were capable of infiltrating their vessel so thoroughly. As the disruptions continued, Reyes communicated with the other human captives through coded hand signals, relaying the plan. The captives understood, quickly adapting to their roles. Each captive began taking note of weaknesses in their cells, subtly loosening bolts, finding tools, and remaining ready to act. They were no longer passive prisoners. They were allies in a coordinated resistance. The aliens grew increasingly annoyed with the unexplained malfunctions, attributing the issues to internal problems rather than sabotage. Carrick ordered maintenance crews to inspect the ship, never suspecting that the very humans he had captured were the cause of the disruptions. The Special Force team continued their work, steadily compromising the ship's communication systems and power supplies. As each system faltered, the aliens' confidence began to waver, but they remained oblivious to the real threat hidden within. At a crucial moment, the Special Force team, now deeply embedded within the ship's core, launched a coordinated signal to Reyes. This was his cue. Without hesitation, Reyes deactivated the force field around his cell using a device the team had provided, slipping out with silent precision. The other captives, following his lead, began their escape as well, overpowering the guards with surprising agility and skill. The once orderly alien ship erupted into chaos as the prisoners fought back, seizing control of weapons and using the ship's corridors to their advantage. Carrick, stunned by the sudden uprising, tried to regain control, but the human strategic rebellion was too well coordinated. The escape plan was in motion. The Special Force team, undetected by the aliens and deeply embedded in the ship, began to escalate their disruptions from minor inconveniences to serious sabotages. They activated hidden devices throughout the vessel, targeting the ship's critical systems with a methodical precision. Control panels shorted out, surveillance cameras failed, and backup systems flickered on and off. What had been dismissed as simple glitches now spiraled into widespread malfunctions, spreading panic among the alien crew. Meanwhile, Agent Reyes led the group of human captives through the ship's labyrinthine corridors, moving swiftly yet quietly. Each captive had been briefed on the escape plan, and Reyes made sure they knew their roles and stayed prepared for anything. They moved with determination, their steps calculated, avoiding any areas where alien guards could spot them. Many of the captives, including engineers and scientists, had picked up alien tools or weapons, anything that could serve as a means of defense. These weren't ordinary civilians anymore, they were a unified force, all sharing a newfound sense of resilience and purpose. The aliens, unprepared for this level of resistance, scrambled to maintain control over their systems. Carrick, now visibly frustrated, barked orders at his crew, demanding to know the cause of the widespread disruptions. Alien technicians worked frantically, attempting to pinpoint the source of the issues, but every attempt only led to dead ends. It was as if their own ship was turning against them, and Carrick was too focused on controlling the technical issues to realize the humans were behind it all. In one of the central command rooms, Chen, the engineer from the Special Force team, accessed the ship's mainframe, uploading a series of algorithms designed to infiltrate the alien security systems. His fingers flew over the interface, carefully implanting viruses that would disrupt the communication between the bridge and other areas of the ship. As the program spread, it created a virtual wall between sections, isolating groups of alien guards and cutting off essential communication links. The command center, where Carrick and his officers were stationed, became a disconnected island within the ship, unaware of the escalating chaos spreading through the rest of the vessel. In another section of the ship, one of the Special Force operatives, Jackson, took advantage of the situation to secure additional alien weapons and distribute them among the captives. These weapons, sleek and foreign, took some getting used to, but with Reyes's guidance, the captives adapted quickly. Soon, they were armed and ready, moving as a coordinated unit, prepared to defend themselves against any alien attempt to recapture them. Karek's confusion gave way to alarm as his comms went down, rendering him unable to reach his security forces stationed in different parts of the ship. He turned to his second-in-command, demanding answers, but the officer merely shrugged, helpless in the face of the ship's unexplained malfunctions. Desperation seeped into Karek's voice as he ordered immediate repairs and increased security measures. But without clear lines of communication, his commands were fragmented and ineffective. His crew, accustomed to complete control over their vessels, now found themselves helpless in the face of a seemingly invisible enemy. Back with the humans, Reyes and his group encountered a small team of alien guards, who were clearly taken by surprise to see the captives outside their cells. The guards fumbled, reaching for their weapons, but the humans moved swiftly, disarming them with a coordinated attack. The captives' willingness to fight took the aliens by surprise. They had expected fear and submission, not the calculated precision that Reyes and his team demonstrated. The guards were subdued quickly, and the humans continued on, reclaiming the corridors and marking a path through the ship. As they advanced, Reyes communicated with the rest of the Special Force team, coordinating each movement to ensure that they were always one step ahead of the alien crew. His messages were concise, each command delivered with the efficiency that only came from years of intense training. The Special Force members knew exactly when and where to strike, targeting weak points in the ship's infrastructure that disrupted not only the alien security systems, but also essential resources like power and air circulation in isolated parts of the vessel. In the ship's main engineering section, the Special Force team had planted charges on critical equipment, ready to initiate a controlled detonation if necessary. They knew the risks. They were deep in enemy territory, with limited time and resources, but they also knew that these calculated risks could mean the difference between life and death for the captives. Each move was precise, every action planned, and every decision made to maximize their advantage. Meanwhile, the alien guards, already struggling to contain the escalating crisis, began to lose morale. They were unprepared for the intensity and resilience of the humans. The ship's corridors became battlegrounds, and the human captives moved through them with a relentless drive, knowing that their only chance of survival depended on their unity and commitment to the mission. Reyes, aware of the aliens' diminishing confidence, encouraged the captives, reminding them of the strength they'd found in themselves and each other. Back in the command center, Karek, realizing his grip on the ship was slipping, ordered his officers to prepare for a full lockdown. He initiated emergency protocols, aiming to seal off sections of the ship in a desperate attempt to contain the uprising. But the humans had anticipated this. Reyes and his team acted quickly, intercepting the lockdown sequence and reprogramming the doors to open, creating pathways instead of barriers. What Karek thought would trap the humans only served to hasten their progress. The human captives and the Special Force team reached the ship's hangar, where they prepared to commandeer a transport vessel for their escape. Reyes directed them with precision, organizing them into smaller teams to ensure everyone had a role in the evacuation process. The captives, empowered by their success so far, moved with purpose, securing the area and preparing for departure. Reyes could see the determination in their faces. What had begun as an act of survival had become a statement of defiance against their captors. Just as the humans were about to board the transport vessel, a final wave of alien guards appeared, blocking their path. But this time, the humans had the advantage, both in numbers and in their newfound sense of unity. A fierce skirmish erupted, with the humans fighting not only for their freedom but for the knowledge that they were more than the aliens had assumed them to be. The alien guards, witnessing the strength of their helpless prisoners, began to falter, their confidence shattered in the face of such organized resistance. As the last of the guards were subdued, Reyes signaled the team to board the transport. The human captives filed in, each carrying with them the pride of having defied their captors. As the ship prepared to launch, Reyes took one last look back at the alien vessel, knowing that their escape was not just a victory, it was a message. They had been underestimated, dismissed as weak, yet they had risen to the challenge, overcoming odds stacked against them. As the humans' commandeered transport sped away from the alien ship, tension filled the cabin. Every person, from seasoned Special Force members to the civilian captives, kept their eyes trained on the monitor, which displayed the alien ship receding into the dark expanse of space. The alien vessel had been severely compromised by the human sabotage, but it wasn't completely immobilized. Its systems were gradually coming back online, and the aliens were already mobilizing forces to give chase. Time was running out. Reyes wasted no time coordinating with his team, his voice steady as he relayed orders. They needed to ensure their escape would go undetected, or at the very least, delay the aliens long enough to reach a safe distance. Fortunately, Chun, the Special Force engineer, had managed to override the transport's tracking systems, masking their escape route. Still, they knew the aliens would not let them go easily. Reyes instructed everyone to prepare for evasive maneuvers and braced himself for the inevitable. Inside the alien ship, Karek's frustration had turned into cold fury. The human's audacity was beyond anything he could have imagined. He ordered every remaining operational squad to converge on the escaping vessel, intending to stop it at all costs. He viewed the humans as an infection that needed to be eradicated, a force far more dangerous than they'd anticipated. His pride was wounded, and he was determined to recover control, viewing this escape as a personal affront to his authority. With a scowl, he commanded his officers to initiate pursuit, sparing no resources in tracking down the fleeing humans. The alien pursuit ships launched with ruthless speed, cutting through the darkness in pursuit of the transport. Reyes and his team monitored the approaching blips on the radar, noting the speed with which they closed the gap. Reyes turned to Chin, who was manning the control systems, and gave him a nod. Chin activated the transport's cloaking device, rendering them invisible to the aliens' tracking for a limited time. But cloaking would only buy them a brief window. The device drained power rapidly, and their position could be revealed at any moment. As the aliens neared the spot where the transport had last been detected, they hesitated, scanning frantically to locate their target. The cloaking had worked. The aliens paused, unable to track the humans' precise location. But Karek, relentless in his pursuit, ordered the ships to spread out and scan every square meter of the surrounding space. Reyes knew that any misstep could expose them, and he ordered his team to maintain silence, keeping every system operating at minimum power to avoid detection. Meanwhile, the civilians on board did their best to stay calm, clutching the makeshift weapons they had picked up earlier, feeling both fear and a strange sense of exhilaration. They had seen firsthand the power and resilience of the Special Force team, and had come to trust Reyes and his expertise. Though the civilians hadn't been trained for combat, they were determined to contribute to the escape in any way they could. The moments stretched on, each second feeling longer than the last. The alien ships hovered nearby, sweeping the area with piercing lights and detection waves, but finding nothing. The humans on board held their breath, each one acutely aware of the stakes. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the alien ships began to peel away, moving further out in their search grid. The humans remained cloaked, drifting in silence until the aliens were a safe distance away. Reyes gave the signal, and the transport's engines roared back to life, propelling them forward. The energy required for the cloaking had left their fuel reserves low, but they were determined to make it to the nearest human outpost, a secure base within reach if they could avoid further detection. As they moved forward, Reyes and his team kept a close watch on the monitors, aware that Karek's forces might double back at any moment. Just as they started to feel a glimmer of relief, an alert flashed on the console. Another alien ship, larger than the rest and armed with advanced scanning technology, had just entered the sector. Karek's orders were clear. This ship was to sweep the area thoroughly, leaving no stone unturned until the humans were found. The alien commander's relentless pursuit left Reyes and his team with no choice but to make a difficult decision. Reyes turned to his team, weighing the risks. They had limited fuel, and their cloaking device couldn't hold up against the new ship's powerful scanners. The only option left was to disrupt the alien scanners directly, using the limited weapons on board. Reyes instructed Jackson, one of the operatives, to ready their remaining firepower for a precision strike. It was a risky move, but they had no other option if they wanted to escape. With steady hands, Jackson prepared the weapon systems and locked onto the incoming alien ship's primary scanner. With one calculated shot, he fired, hitting the scanner directly. The strike sent a wave of interference through the alien systems, temporarily blinding them. Reyes seized the moment, ordering the transport to accelerate, pushing their engines to the limit. They rocketed forward, leaving the disabled alien ship floundering in their wake. For the first time since their escape began, they felt a true sense of hope. The alien ships behind them were still struggling to regain control, and the humans surged forward, edging closer to the safety of human territory. The civilians on board exchanged looks of relief, some even managing tentative smiles as the stars blurred past them. However, Reyes knew they couldn't celebrate just yet. The transport systems were severely strained, the power reserves dwindling after the heavy cloaking and full-speed escape maneuvers. He instructed the team to begin energy-saving protocols, conserving every last drop of fuel as they neared the outpost. They had to reach human-controlled space if they wanted to call this mission a success. As the transport moved into the outer perimeter of the human defense zone, they sent out a coded distress signal. Almost immediately, a response came through, a voice on the other end confirming their coordinates and preparing to guide them in. Cheers erupted from the civilians, and even Reyes and his team allowed themselves a moment of satisfaction. They had escaped, against impossible odds, thanks to their training, their resourcefulness, and their unity. The alien pursuit ships, realizing they were approaching hostile human territory, hesitated. Karek, still seething from his failure, ordered his ships to halt at the edge of the zone. He knew that advancing further would draw the attention of human defenses, which were known for their lethal accuracy. Reluctantly, he gave the order to retreat, his final view of the human transport a bitter reminder of his underestimation of Earth's resilience. As the transport docked at the outpost, the humans disembarked, greeted by allies who had been monitoring their progress anxiously. The Special Force team ensured every civilian was accounted for, each one safely escorted to debriefing and medical checks. Reyes watched as the civilians shared their experiences, their faces a blend of relief, pride, and disbelief. They had been captured, subjected to alien control, but they had fought back and survived. As the humans regrouped and settled into the outpost, the weight of what they had just endured began to sink in. Exhaustion tugged at every civilian and Special Force member, but a sense of accomplishment filled the air. They had survived an ordeal that would have seemed impossible just days before, and now they stood together on the threshold of their return to Earth, more united than ever. But even with the alien threat momentarily behind them, Reyes and the team understood that their journey was far from over. This was not just a random encounter with an aggressive alien species. It was a warning that greater dangers awaited humanity in the cosmos. As the outpost's medical staff tended to the injured and provided the team with much-needed supplies, Reyes and his squad gathered to review the mission. Though they had successfully escaped, the team was acutely aware of how close they'd come to total capture. The alien technology, strategies, and relentless pursuit had exposed weaknesses in Earth's defensive protocols, and Reyes intended to ensure that these vulnerabilities were addressed. Every detail of their harrowing experience, the alien ship's advanced tech, the captor's tactics, and the captive's reactions, was logged with precision for the outpost's intelligence officers to analyze. Reyes met with Commander Hale, his superior at the outpost, to provide a detailed debriefing. Hale listened intently as Reyes recounted their encounters, the meticulous way the aliens had categorized their human captives, the overconfidence that led them to overlook humanity's resilience, and the audacious escape that had not only saved the captives but delivered a message to the alien fleet. Hale nodded, his face grim as he processed the information, recognizing the urgency of reinforcing Earth's readiness for any future encounters. "Commander," Reyes said, his tone resolute, "we can't afford to underestimate the scope of this threat. This wasn't just a rogue vessel. These aliens had planned and prepared, assuming they could capture us with ease. If they come back, we need to be ready. Hale agreed, his expression serious as he responded. You're right, Reyes. This wasn't just a skirmish, it's the beginning of something larger. We've already transmitted the data from your mission back to Earth Command. They're analyzing it now, preparing defenses and training protocols based on everything you and your team have reported. Earth won't be caught off guard again. Meanwhile, word of the mission's success spread quickly through the outpost. Civilians, soldiers, and even researchers gathered in small groups, discussing the implications of the Special Force Team's mission. For many, it was a moment of pride, a realization that humans were capable of standing their ground, even against highly advanced alien species. The captives who had escaped were treated with a sense of awe and admiration, regarded as examples of human resilience in the face of insurmountable odds. As the data analysis continued, intelligence officers began uncovering troubling information. The aliens had left behind traces of encrypted messages, fragments of communication that suggested Earth wasn't their only target. Reyes and his team examined the findings, piecing together what they could: a network of alien alliances, references to strategic points of interest throughout the galaxy, and most importantly, an indication that Earth was viewed as a potential resource. The realization sent a ripple of urgency through the outpost. This wasn't an isolated incident, this was part of a larger strategy. Reyes and his team quickly shifted their focus from simple debriefing to active preparation, helping to train the outpost's defenses, sharing tactical insights from their experience, and assisting in the development of countermeasures specifically designed to combat the alien technologies they had encountered. Hale convened a meeting with the outpost's key leaders, bringing Reyes and his team to the forefront to share their first-hand accounts and guide the preparations. Standing before the gathered officers, Reyes outlined the potential threats and emphasized the importance of immediate readiness. His words resonated deeply, especially with those who had never encountered alien species before. He described how the aliens had underestimated humanity but warned that future encounters would not afford the same advantage. Earth needed to be ready for a conflict on a much larger scale. In response to the urgency, the outpost accelerated its training protocols, with Reyes and his team leading simulations and sharing the skills they had honed during the escape. They taught the others how to read alien body language, identify potential weaknesses in alien technology, and work seamlessly as a unit under high-stakes conditions. The outpost soldiers, engineers, and scientists trained tirelessly, determined to reinforce their defenses and prepare for what might lie ahead. The captives, now free and safe, offered their own insights, helping the team understand how the aliens had initially subdued them. Their observations added valuable layers to the defensive strategy, especially regarding alien behavioral patterns and psychological tactics. Each detail contributed to a larger framework that would eventually be used to train forces across Earth, creating a collective defense system against future extraterrestrial incursions. Back on Earth, the mission's success was celebrated, but it also sparked a renewed dedication to preparation. The footage, logs, and data from the outpost poured into Earth's intelligence agencies, where analysts worked around the clock, developing new strategies, weapons, and defense protocols. Training camps were established, and soldiers underwent rigorous programs based on the Special Forces experience, learning to think like their extraterrestrial opponents and anticipate their tactics. As preparations continued, Reyes and his team finally received orders to return to Earth. They left the outpost with a sense of pride and purpose, knowing that their actions had paved the way for Earth's future defenses. When they arrived, they were met with both gratitude and a somber understanding of the challenges yet to come. They were heroes, yes, but they were also harbingers of a new era, an era in which humanity would need to stand together in the face of cosmic threats. Reyes was promoted and assigned to lead a specialized unit within Earth Command, tasked with coordinating interstellar defense strategies. His team, each member forged in the fires of their recent ordeal, was placed in command positions, training others in the skills that had saved their lives. Their experiences became the foundation of Earth's defense doctrine, the knowledge passed down to future generations of soldiers who would one day stand on the front lines. Yet despite the intense preparations, Reyes remained vigilant, never underestimating the scope of the threat they now faced. He knew that Carrack and his alien fleet would not easily forget the humans who had escaped. The aliens would regroup, analyze their own mistakes, and likely return with even greater force. Reyes spent every moment training, planning, and preparing Earth's forces, knowing that this was only the beginning.